Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I only want to be with you, Diamond Doll.
And I am a suffering bastard.
Welcome to episode 173, World War III, 1995.
60 men.
3 rings.
3 giants?
1 battle royal.
Nice question mark. 3 giants? Is there 3 giants?
Yes.
And are they in the ring for very long?
There's a guy that might as well be wearing a fucking stormtrooper mask as far as I'm concerned. Sub-Zero. The Yeti, they were like, well, Mortal Kombat's big.
Well, he's not dressed like a mummy anymore.
No,
so
he's dressed like...
There's plus for that, I guess. But I guess...
He's dressed like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
Yeti.0.
Which is at least fun, but...
Yeti.0.
Yeti.0.
Oh, so this is the inaugural World War III produced by WCW. It would take place on November 26th, 1995 from the Norfolk Scope in Norfolk, Virginia.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How many sad bastards are going to be attending this show?
12,000.
That's a whole lot of bastards.
We watch the matches, so you don't have to. So this is going to be probably a goofy one. Just heads up, off the
It's
top.
possible.
Yeah.
You know.
It has its fun moments.
But because it's a goofy one, I bet Shane's probably helping with making it a little bit more goofy.
Yeah. Well, you know, we are, here we are at World War III. As you said, produced by WCW, and it is the Hogan era show. And, yeah, as the tagline suggests, 60 men, 3 rings, 3 giants, 1 battle royal. As I said at the end of the last show, I think this needs some alcohol.
Yeesh.
So that's what I did.
Yeah. I would say that the Cold War is strong again. Nukes are pointed at from Russia to the United States, and we don't know when they're going to go off. The doomsday clock is almost at midnight,
What
and
year is this?
we are sipping from the bottle to calm our nerves.
Yes.
As we
Or in
go to
this
sleep
case,
with the radio on.
Star Trek glasses.
Yeah, Star Trek glasses here. Just setting the scene, guys.
All I know is I'm down in mine, so it makes this show even more fun.
Pretty dang good. Yeah, so here we are, World War III. I originally started looking for cocktails that were popular in the Virginia area, and then I decided, let's see if I can find one that's called a World War III, and I found one recipe for something with Hypnotic, but it sounded too fun and flavorful. So I decided to look a little deeper, and I didn't technically want to celebrate World War III, and World War II was already over, so I went with a World War II inspired.
We don't celebrate war here over at the Wrestling History X podcast.
Right. We do not.
It's 1995 when we go to the bar.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like you could do a play on the Flamin' Mo called the Flamin' Yeti, where it's like you just take a little bit, you just pour a little bit of everything out of any liquor bottle that's in your house, and then in the Flaming Mo he tops it off with like children's cough syrup. Mm-hmm. We'd probably use like grenadine or something, because you can't just be drinking cough syrup, guys. Come on.
Have you ever tasted Dimetapp? Hello?
Dimetap's alright.
It's delicious.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah. WHX does not endorse the drinking of cough syrup.
We're just gonna next time we have World War III Part 2 of '96. So I guess we just need to. You'll show up with like a bottle of Robitussin with a straw in it for each of us.
Yeah, we're gonna get like Everclear and Robitussin. We're gonna trip this bad boy. Anywho, found a World War II inspired cocktail known as the Suffering Bastard, and foreshadowing. As I said, the drink was inspired kind of by the show, and it reminded me a little bit of the show, and the name of it just sounded too perfect to go along with it. So That's what I went with. It is a concoction that has some Cavassier. It has some dry gin. It's got a lime cordial. It's got some fresh squeezed lime juice in it as well. A few dashes of the Angostura bitters. And then shaken, strained into a glass, topped with a ginger beer. So little details of the Suffering Bastard.
They gave you when they didn't have antiseptics in the field after you got your arm.
I mean, it's
shot
actually
off.
not. It's a whole lot better than I was expecting, just because I've never had one before, never heard of one before, and gin isn't really my favorite. And then you mix in some brandy with it, and it's like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah.
But,
This is like a summer cocktail, but not in a fruity way.
Yes. Suffering Bastard was invented by Joe Skialum. He was a trained chemist. He worked in the Sudan. He was an Egyptian Jew, apparently, with an Italian background, born and raised in Egypt.
Oh, so he's comes from a slave background.
Yeah.
Jews built the pyramids, unless it was aliens.
He was barkeeping at a shepherd's hotel in Cairo, Egypt during World War II. In an effort to help with what he could do best, he developed a recipe that was supposed to act as a hangover cure for the Allied troops.
More alcohol.
And, yeah. Instead, it became a fairly tasty cocktail. So, watching the show perhaps may
I should have drank one of these after the show.
hangover-ish. Yes. But hey, we'll at least be sipping on it while we're discussing it.
Absolutely.
So something that happened right around the same time as World War III, Casino and Toy Story would be released earlier in the week.
I mean,
Yeah.
2 bangers.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, everyone's like, Goodfellas, Goodfellas, Goodfellas. I think that it's one of those things where everybody's seen Goodfellas more. I think Casino is just as good, or every time you watch it, you've seen it less, so you're like, damn, what a good movie.
Casino's so long.
It is, but it doesn't feel long.
That I think that's the reason why.
Yeah, it does.
I don't think it feels that long. Personally, I don't think it feels long, but I bet their running times are pretty
And see, I think for
close
me,
together.
Casino...
I think Casino's close to 3 hours and Goodfellas is only, I think it's less than
2:30.
2.
Oh, it's more than 2. It's gotta be.
Yeah, Casino has the Sharon Stone factor to it, which...
She doesn't get to do much, but she's so hot. It's fine.
And see, that's what I don't like
And she
about
has a
Sharon
good role.
Stone is that she tries to use her hotness as her character for the majority of the roles that she's in. It's like, just act already.
Yeah, unfortunately,
You're an actress.
Sharon Stone kind of got a rough deal by getting too big too fast,
Yeah.
and then having too big of a head.
Yep.
But like, it's kind of a shame because if she slow-goed it, she may have gotten some better roles and not have been like thrown away so fast by Hollywood.
I mean, she did great in this one. I mean, she
she's really good at
won
being
a Golden Globe for
yeah,
it. Was nominated for, I think, her first Oscar for.
And one of
Best Actress.
my favorite, I don't know, it's hard to say like, oh, one of my favorite songs. A song I really love gets used in this movie in one of the scenes she has. What a Difference a Day Makes by Dina Washington, which is such a beautiful and wonderful song. The animatronic Joe Pesci at the end that somehow looks good. It's awesome. I love Casino. I think that it's one of those things where people. I always thought the Casino was like right after Goodfellas, but Scorsese makes like 2 movies in between.
Yeah.
I think one of them might be Cape Fear, and not Kundun, but something else. But yeah, I mean, it's Scorsese. Even the movies that he's made that like you don't love are still worth watching. It's kind of like Spielberg. It's like, well, he's just good.
I don't know about that, but
I don't know. I haven't watched a Scorsese movie that I like hated. I haven't seen everything.
And see, I started The Irishman, and then I had to turn it off.
he made Cape Fear and Age of Innocence in between the two.
So yeah.
I haven't seen Age of Innocence. That's a Daniel Day-Lewis. The first time he worked with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis and
Michelle Pfeiffer,
Michelle
Winona
Pfeiffer,
Ryder.
yeah, like Cruel Intentions.
Yeah, but it's like in the a time period. I don't know when
Yeah.
exactly. I have not seen that one.
19th century New York, high society.
Sounds great. I should watch it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll like it. I feel like that Scorsese is one of those guys where it's like, even if you don't like it, it's nice context for such a important and long career.
Yeah.
One of those things where it's like, oh, I don't love every Spielberg movie I've seen, but like I don't regret watching it because he seems
I'm more
fucking
likely
Spielberg.
to give them a chance just because I know what he's capable
even if
of.
I didn't love the movie, like there's gonna be something good about it, and you know that it was made well, shot well, like
And then there's Toy Story.
Toy Story. Do you guys have any memories from seeing Toy Story the first time? I have a very vivid one.
Tell us yours, because I probably didn't see it until it was on DVD.
Okay, I vividly remember waiting in a line that was at a standalone theater as a kid to get into the theater in the early afternoon, late morning, that was wrapped around the building.
Nice.
To get in to see Toy Story and being like, oh yeah, that was great. I mean, it was a huge deal. I was a kid, so I wasn't like, it's not like I had good film opinions or anything. And then I recently, within the last couple of years, went back and rewatched all the Toy Stories because I didn't really remember 2. And then when 3 and 4 came out, I just was like, I didn't really have strong feelings. And then going back and rewatching all of them, I'm like, all these movies are good.
Yes.
What's your favorite one?
I'll give you I go 2, 1, 4, 3. That's my Toy Story ranking.
From bottom to top?
From top to bottom. So 2 is my number 1. 1 is my number 2. Then 4, then 3.
Wow.
Matt's looking like at me like 2's the best one.
Wow.
2's easily the best one. Well, that's my personal opinion.
How about you, Shane? You got an order?
For me, 1 and 4 are my top 2 choices.
I love that. I love that opinion about 4.
I've only watched part 4 one time though, but it definitely got me in my feels. But I think I got to go with the original first. 4, 3, 2.
4 got you in your feels?
Yeah, dude. I think that 4 is way better than 3.
You don't know what it's like to be in your 40s yet, fully.
I think 4 is.
I do know what it's like to be in my 40s.
Fully.
Yeah.
I'm almost halfway through them already.
Yeah, I think that 4 is.
The emotions
I think 4
just
is
keep
underrated
getting worse,
as shit.
man.
I think 4 is underrated as
What's
hell.
yours then?
Matt's 3, number 1.
3, 1, 2, 4.
Yeah.
I could not.
You know what's?
4 is not a Toy Story movie. It is a Woody story. It is
a Woody movie. I agree.
I'm a Tom Hanks man.
Yeah.
And if I went and saw Lightyear, and if I were to include it, it's 5th.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Lightyear. I wasn't super. I feel like Lightyear should have been a Disney Plus movie, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
You will be whelmed.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It's a like 3 of 5, a 6 of 10.
It's a cute movie.
If it wasn't a Lightyear movie, a Buzz Lightyear movie, it would be a good movie. If it wasn't a Pixar movie, you would be impressed by the movie.
But it's
But it's both of those things, and so you're like expecting more.
It's very mid Pixar,
and it's just
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's
Plus,
the premise of it. It's just.
I'm just gonna throw this out here because this is my hot take. Any kid, spoiler. Sorry.
It's fine.
What Lightyear is the movie that Andy watches.
Yeah.
That makes him want to get the Buzz Lightyear action figure.
Yes.
Yeah, okay? I know that's the premise.
If you watch this movie, Buzz Lightyear is the worst character, and you want Socks, the cat.
To be
the cat is the best character.
Really? I mean, it's very cute. I've seen the trailers.
Yep.
And like that cat is very cute and a very
any
cool
kid that
design.
would want Buzz Lightyear, I'm just like, no, you were wrong.
And also, Socks is
second,
not in the
second
other...
hot take. Second hot take.
Yeah.
Andy would have watched this movie in the late 80s, early 90s.
And it would have been awesome.
And it's the most progressive movie of all time.
Yeah, there's no F words, which were very, very common in late 80s children's movies. We've all seen Monster Squad. Like, damn, they let those kids say that?
Nards?
What? Yeah.
What's a version? Yeah.
You know what I love about
this? I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of hate.
It's a solid film. I would not tell you to go and see it in the theater.
Yeah.
But it's worth a watch.
If you go see it in the theater, see it in 3D. Just because you at least get the digital effects of it all.
It's crazy that the last couple of Pixar movies, I think, were pretty good.
This is the first Pixar movie to be released into theaters in 3 years.
And that's why I'm like, this one feels like it should be the Disney Plus one.
Exactly.
Because like I think Luca was incredible, and Turning Red was nice because it was something different. But like Buzz, it's like nobody's clamoring for a Buzz Lightyear movie.
And see, I was excited to see it because I just wanted it. I didn't go into it knowing much about it at all. I just wanted to see what they were doing with it. But I went into it almost positive that it wasn't going to be a Toy Story movie, and it's not a Toy Story movie.
That's good. It's at least they got away from it.
It's as much a Toy Story movie as Joker is a Batman movie.
Good point.
You know, it's got.
That's very true.
It's got a dusting on it. It's its own story because it was supposedly there before Toy Story was a thing. Can't wait for that Joker sequel.
It's going to be a musical, right?
Right.
Yes.
That's
sure.
Lady Gaga and Joaquin.
Okay, enough.
Okay, before we move on, I just want to say that I think that it's great that we all have different like favorite Toy Story or like our Toy Story rankings are all different. I think that's really cool because that's not typically how sequels work. So that proves that all of these movies are at least baseline interesting.
Oh yeah.
I like the last 10 minutes of 3. I bawled completely.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 did nothing.
Yeah, I think for 3, the thing that got me wasn't the thing that got everyone else. The thing that got me was when he passes the toys off to the little girl.
No,
okay.
That's the part that gets me.
Okay, because
the bear part, I'm like, that's sad.
Yeah, where they're about to get like burned up, and was like, of course they're not going to get burned up. Like, duh, like that's silly. Why would you get emotional about that? But that's good stuff. I agree. And she is so much better than Andy. She's great, and totally. Andy stinks. I mean, at least in the first movie and stuff.
I was hoping Toy Story 4 was going to be the little girl playing with the toys, and then it was a Woody story, and I was just like, eh.
Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, I liked Bo Peep showing back up. That was cool.
Yeah.
Because Bo Peep hadn't been in the movies.
I really wish that they
Don't get me
explored.
wrong. I love Joan Cusack. I love me some
Forky
Jessie.
more. I think that Forky could have been explored a lot more.
Forky was horrible.
I like Forky. I'm pro Forky, and I wish that it was explored more.
Forky was
dumb.
Horrible.
I like Forky. I'm pro Forky.
All right. Before we keep going down this Toy Story.
Yeah, let's. While we're talking about baby stuff, let's talk about.
Instead of being mad about Forky,
let's be mad about some wrestling.
WCW declares war. Right into clips of action before getting the logo of the show, as we are told about the biggest battle royal ever.
60 man.
Tony Schiavone then welcomes us to the show, and he's joined by Bobby the Brain Heenan at ringside. They give their predictions for the main event, with Tony saying Hogan, and the Brain saying Savage, but almost immediately changes his mind to the Giant. Schiavone starts previewing the other matches when Bobby all of a sudden changes his pick to Flair.
There you go.
Bobby's in the sauce too.
We go to Mean Gene on a podium with Hulk, Macho Man, and Sting. And Okerlund says many people are picking Hogan to win, and the Hulkster starts to speak about taking a walk to the dark side, but he never made the final step. Hogan removes his black bandana and shirt, throwing him into a trash can, which proceeds to light on fire.
Yeah, he's squeezing the last juice out of the hot dog for Hulkamania.
Hulk claims that he will never question his friends again, as he'd been paranoid ever since Halloween Havoc. Right. Wanting to be friends with Stinger and Savage forever.
And he pulls out like a quote unquote dirt rag sheet, like the newsletter stuff, and he's like, nah, it's all on. They're like selling the internet on this show. They're like, CompuServe. And he's like burning it up. He's like, nah, it's all on the internet, man. The internet has the scoops, brother. And I'm like, what a weird thing to do.
Okerlund then sends us to a video package with DDP cutting a promo on Johnny B. Bad, challenging him to a match. And Kimberly begins to speak, but Paige tells her to zip it, only for her to have enough of it and tell him to zip it before leaving.
You would know a 10 if it was staring you in the face, and it's like, she's staring in the face.
She's staring at you in the face.
It's a 10. I love that the fire goes out of control, and they keep like trying to fan it, and then Sting like grabs a water bottle and dumps it on it. They're like, oh, well, we didn't really think about this. But, like, what did they put in the bottom of that bucket? Gasoline? You probably shouldn't do that.
Where's Firebreaker Chip when you need him?
Yep.
We cut to a later promo where the Diamond Doll puts herself up as a prize in the match because she knows what the championship means to DDP, saying he cares more about titles and possessions than her.
If he can win that title, if he can keep that title, maybe, or win it, right? Win it, yeah. Then it proves that he's fighting for her.
So we head to our first match. Diamond Dallas Page with the Diamond Doll versus Johnny B. Bad for the WCW Television Championship and the services of the Diamond Doll.
I know, it went from baby doll to diamond doll.
So if he gets Diamond Doll, will she become like the bad babe?
Ooh, that's good.
So Paige still has the bad blasters. So Johnny comes out with Roman candles in his entrance.
His spark blasters.
The two men argue with each other before locking up, where it turns into a scuffle out to the floor, where DDP goes for a bulldog only to be shoved off into the ring post.
Posted.
Back in the ring, Paige is taken down with a crossbody, but he uses his momentum to end up on top for a 2 count. DDP starts running the ropes, only to be caught by Bad for a Samoan drop for a near fall, before going into a headlock. The two men then trade arm locks using hair pulls to escape, when Paige charges, only for Johnny to duck, sending DDP tumbling out to the floor. Bad then fakes out with a bad moon, before transitioning into a slingshot plancha. And Johnny looks for the Tutti Frutti, but Paige is using Kimberly as a shield.
Boom.
Rudy.
Allowing him to sucker punch Bad and toss him into the guardrail. Back in the ring, DDP takes control with a back suplex and a reverse pancake. Turns to get a 10 from the Diamond Doll.
Oh, no, he didn't.
But she refuses. Paige keeps up the attack with clotheslines, back elbows, and a shoulder tackle. Charges into the corner only for Johnny to move, firing up with punches, an atomic drop, and a clothesline, which gets him a 10+ from Kimberly.
Ooh.
After he called her a bimbo earlier in the match.
I like how she actually had a sign that said
10+.
10+.
Yeah.
10+.
Bag continues with a sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count, but then charges into a back elbow in the corner, allowing DDP to make a cover with leverage for a near fall. Paige follows that up with a tilt-a-whirl side slam for a 2 count, with Johnny countering into a crucifix for a near fall. DDP goes for another tilt-a-whirl something, but Bad reverses it into a head scissors takedown. Johnny goes out to the apron for a bad moon into the ring, but Paige gets his knees up. DDP then hits a gut-wrench gutbuster for a 2 count, goes for a second one, only for Bad to float over, but is taken down by a back elbow. Paige then picks Johnny up for a tombstone piledriver, which is reversed into one by Bad for a near fall. Johnny then lands the Tutti Frutti punch, sending DDP through the ropes to the floor, where he follows out with the bad moon, a slingshot somersault plancha, rolling back in for a slingshot leg drop for the pin and the win. Post-match, the Diamond Doll is shocked.
She looks stunned.
Looks like she has some regrets about putting herself on the line.
You just don't know.
But she enters the ring and hugs Johnny, all while still looking at Paige.
I mean, that's good character work by her for sure. She's Miss Elizabething it up.
Don't know what you got till it's gone. Will he fight for her?
Mean Gene is in the aisleway, and he plugs the hotline, saying there is some late-breaking information about the WWF steroid scandal.
Shots fired.
Referencing possible witness tampering, but nothing ever came of that.
No.
Just so you know.
Well, McDivitt's about to, try again.
Bad and Kimberly then join Okerlund, where Bad says that's no way to treat a lady, so he had to teach DDP some RESPCT. Mean Gene seems to think that Diamond Doll has to spend the rest of her life with Johnny, and Bad doesn't seem to think so either. He gives her the choice to be his manager, but she has time to think about it.
He wants it to be her choice. He respects her.
Before giving her a motivational speech about reaching her goals. Kimberly calls it a night of mixed emotions and thinks the better man has won tonight.
Solid start. These guys have had some fun matches. This is a fun match. Solid angle.
So we head to our second match.
The Tape Fist Challenge.
Big Bubba Rogers versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan in a taped fist match. So there's a story behind this match. As Hacksaw had gone to Ireland to research his family history, discovering that his grandmother was a taped fist boxing champion, as he found a picture of her, which was just Duggan dressed up as an old woman. After this revelation, Hacksaw would start winning his matches with a taped fist, which would bring the ire of Big Bubba and VK Wall Street. Duggan would cost Rogers a match with Evad, when Hacksaw would put Ralph the Rabbit into the ring, causing Big Bubba to have an allergic reaction.
My God, I can't believe that this is the story because they didn't tell us any of this, and it is insane.
He would later cost Rogers another match by tripping him up, causing Bubba to fall on his own taped fist, knocking him out.
He fell on his own knife. Yeah, hoisted by his own petard. This is some goof nugget stuff that honestly is kind of fun. Wow.
I think that's the alcohol talking.
Shout out to, Hacksaw. Prayers and vitamins are ingested for you. We don't love you in the ring, but we love you as a guy. He's fighting cancer at the moment.
May the spirit of your tape fist grandmother be shining down on you now and always. Now, then, now. Forever. Together.
So the last time we saw Hacksaw was at Bash at the Beach 95, all the way back in episode 159. And the rules of this match are that you can win by pin or by knockout. Okay. Which is basically how you win every match except for just no submission.
Yeah, it's like, well, spoiler alert, they spend a lot of time on the floor, so I guess that's not a problem.
I guess not.
I mean, I guess they go in, but we'll get there.
As Rogers makes his way to the ring, Duggan would run out with his fist taped to his elbows. But he does have a sling to hold his 2x4, attacking from behind.
Yeah, the sling 2x4 got me.
Hacksaw is just throwing Bubba around the outside before rolling him into the ring, where he tries to use the 2x4, only for the ref to stop him. The two men begin to trade punches and clotheslines that send Rogers out to the floor, with Duggan following out to continue the attack over to a second ring.
Oh, man.
We didn't even mention this, but there are 3 rings set up. You have your main one, that's like in the middle, and then there's 2 on the left or right of it, for the main event later.
What is a nice touch is that the crowd, they have some, because it's 3 rings, so some different front row experiences where they fill in the gaps, which I think is pretty neat, because it's if you're going to do that, you don't want everybody to be that much further away or whatever. Yeah. So, I think that's a cool idea.
Hacksaw traps Bubba's head between posts of a couple of the rings to continue the punishment before knocking him loose with the right hand.
Oh, Bobby says, why does everyone have to fight on the floor? What do you think the thing with the ropes is called?
Duggan jumps off the apron with a single sledge, but Rogers avoids, sending Hacksaw crashing into the guardrail and allowing Bubba to attack with uppercuts. Back in the ring, Rogers keeps it up with more right hands, chokes, when Duggan escapes out to a different ring, only for Bubba to follow and hit an enziguri, before focusing on the ribs of Hacksaw, until he can retaliate with a shoulder tackle to send Rogers out to the floor. The 2 men head back to our original ring, where Bubba ties Duggan's arm to the ropes with tape, before just punching away some more, until he charges at Hacksaw, running right into an outstretched fist.
I love that he runs into him and Jim Duggan just holds his fist out. It's like something that a little kid would do if he was getting picked on by his little brother, where he cover his head and put his fist out and he just runs into it. I got a good chuckle out of it.
Duggan would backdrop Rogers out to the floor, allowing him time to free himself to brawl some more on the floor, before delivering a body slam and a 3-point stance clothesline inside the ring. VK Wall Street would then make his way out with a chain wrapped around his fist, only for Hacksaw to notice him and grab the 2x4, nailing VK as he jumps on the apron, causing him to drop the chain in the ring, where Bubba grabs it to nail Duggan across the jaw for the knockout. 10 count.
Bum, bum, bum. So, when they did the first Nitro, they didn't call him VK Wall Street.
Wasn't it just Mr. Wall Street?
I think it was just Mr. Wall Street.
Yeah, but it's funny because VK, it's I was trying to figure out what it was on the show, and I was like, what? They're calling him Wall Street, so I just wrote, Wall Street or his actual name, because we all know who he is. But VK Wall Street. Vincent Kennedy. And this is not a publicly traded company. We got about 5 years ago to get there. Very funny
They got
stuff.
much longer than that to go.
Well, I thought he was publicly traded in like 99.
It was like mid-2000s.
Oh, really? I thought it was around the time that they were doing like Super Bowl commercials in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
No, because...
That great Super Bowl commercial that we all remember and love. It was a really good commercial.
I'm trying to remember
It's like
now.
through Titan Towers.
You maybe remember?
It was through Titan Towers, and it was good.
Yeah, I don't remember
People
that
were slamming stuff and shit. It's cool. Stone Cold, Mankind, everyone's there.
Okay, I think I vaguely remember that now.
Yeah.
Tony then talks the remaining card before telling fans they can chat with WCW stars on CompuServe.
Keep the internet.
And he asks Heenan if he's ever chatted on CompuServe, with the brain saying yes, miming using a typewriter to show he knows what he's doing. Because he literally
does the thing, slides it.
He types and then he slides the...
So wow, they're really shilling some
CompuServe, the
communications
internet.
here. Call us on the hotline.
It's Karate
Get us
Fighters
on the World Wide Web.
Karate Fighters on one channel and the internet on the other.
Mean Gene's at the interview podium with Ric Flair, saying they are in his old stomping grounds, but Sting wants revenge. And Nate says the whole world knows the Nature Boy will style and profile, claiming that the Stinger almost ended his career on Nitro. But I'm back, because that's the way it is, where you like it or not.
Yeah, he says just like Dr. J ruled the scope, Ric Flair will rule the WCW one more time. And I was just like, I sure hope so. That would be great. We'd love that.
Woo-woo.
Okerlund then moves on to discuss the Battle Royal with Flair, responding that it is his master plan to get Sting, Hogan, and Savage under the same roof at the same time.
Huh?
Doesn't that happen every week at Nitro?
I mean, yeah.
That's what I thought too.
And yeah, unless Hogan's not there.
They were just under the same roof just like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. I mean, they're under the same roof right now.
Then we go to our third match. Cutie, Suzuki, and Mayumi Ozaki versus Bull Nakano and Akira Hokuto with Sonny Onoo. So Mike Tenay joins the commentary booth for this match, telling us it is a inter-promotional matchup, as Bull and Akira represent All Japan, while Cutie and Mayumi represent Japan Women Pro.
I mean, we've seen some of these women before. I believe 3 of them.
We haven't seen Nagano or Hokuto since Collision in Korea, episode 161. We have not seen the other 2.
Okay, I thought we've seen Mayumi Ozaki.
Nope.
We have not. Okay, cool.
So Bull and Akira jump their opponents, hitting a double team clothesline on Ozaki, followed by Nakano whipping her around by the hair. More double teams, hair whips, biting and chokes, until Mayumi fires up, only for Bull to absorb the attacks. Ozaki finally hits a DDT, allowing her to make a tag to Suzuki, where they do their own double teaming, including stereo half crabs.
Love it. That's always fun. Especially when it's like 2 smaller girls on one bigger girl.
Stereo half crabs?
Yeah.
Stereo half crab? That's pretty good. I've tried to think of good wrestling, like subtle wrestling things for band names, and I can never come up with a good one.
The best
Eye
one
Gouge.
ever.
There's already been a band called Eye Gouge.
I don't know why 7-cent rope was always my...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one sounds like a pop punk band.
Cutie's working the leg of Akira until Nakano tosses her off, allowing a tag to be made. And Bull sends Suzuki running the ropes, with Cutie going for a drop kick. But Nakano moves, causing Suzuki to nail Mayumi, sending her flying off the apron to the floor.
Oh my god.
Bull delivers a power bomb and heads up top for a moonsault, but Cutie is able to avoid, followed by her and Ozaki coming off the top with several flying stomps for a 2 count. They then attempt a double team suplex, but it's reversed by Nakano, followed by a tagged in Hokuto, who flies in with a crossbody that is avoided by everybody.
Poor girl.
Suzuki and Mayumi with a double drop kick to Bull, followed by setting Akira on the top rope for a double team superplex. But Bull recovers to just yank them both down, allowing Hokuto to hit the flying crossbodies to both ladies. Akira and Nakano then send them to the ropes, attempting power bombs, only to be countered with stereo hurricanranas for a near fall.
Yeah.
Cutie and Ozaki head to the top ropes, coming off with a flying clothesline for a 2 count. Mayumi then delivers a bridging half Nelson suplex to Hokuto for a near fall, but Akira retaliates with a bridging German that lands Ozaki right on her head.
Sick.
I know, I was like, right on her head. It looks brutal.
Uh-huh.
Bull's back in with a clothesline for a 2 count as Suzuki makes a save, which just allows Nakano to grab them both for a double clothesline, which they duck, only for Hokuto to fly in with a double missile dropkick, sending them out to the floor.
I love the split leg drop kick off the top. It's one of my favorite things, and this one is so smooth because you don't see it coming at all. It's I really love that moment because it's just like, oh no, she was just there,
Yep.
right
Boom.
there, right in the
Boom.
cut. No one's waiting around for it. It's just right there. Some of these women wrestlers
Dropping
are
bombs.
so good at keeping everything so fluid, and like there's crazy spots, but they never seem forced.
Akira then comes off the top rope with a somersault plancha as well, followed by a doomsday device back into the ring to Ozaki, only for Cutie to break up the pin. Hokuto then tosses Suzuki back out to the floor before body slamming Mayumi, followed by Bull coming off the top rope with a leg drop for the pin and the win.
A Bull leg drop is just always
It's so
spot on, perfect.
Yeah, it's so solid because it's so simple, but she's just like at a perfect 90-degree angle and just like thuds so well that it looks
Dear
cool.
Orange Goblin, learn to do that leg drop.
Yeah, if Hogan did a leg drop off the top, we'd have more respect for him.
Well, hell, if he could just connect with his normal one the way she connects with that one, or
Yeah,
even near that.
Yeah, if the man could jump at all.
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan said that he's seen it all, and I'd say we've seen just about everything we could in a match this fun and kinetic. And we can thank Mike Tenay for all the information. He let us know that Kensuke Sasaki and Akira Hokuto got married after meeting each other on a wrestling show. Like they got married like a week later.
Yep.
So I hope they're still happily married.
Mean Gene is then on the stage where he welcomes Jimmy Hart and Lex Luger. And Okerlund calls Jimmy a little twerp, which is ignored, before mocking Savage and telling Lex he will be the next champion because he has the mouth of the South in his corner. Luger goes for a high five, but Hart leaves him hanging, so Lex pretends he's just waving to the crowd.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Mean Gene then says Macho said Luger wouldn't even make it to the Battle Royal, but Lex calls himself the flagship of WCW. He's the past, present, and future, before promising to break Savage into pieces and become champion. And the entire time he's saying this, it's very obvious he's looking at cue cards because he never looks at the camera the entire time he's talking.
Yeah, he couldn't remember 100 little pieces.
Okerlund then ends the interview by mocking Luger for being so oily, asking if it was 10W40.
Yeah, I mean, if that was a match between Mean Gene and Lex Luger, Mean Gene is your new cooler guy than Lex Luger.
So that leads us to our fourth match. The Crippler, Chris Benoit, versus Kensuke Sasaki,
Husband to Akira Hokuto.
with Sonny Onoo for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship.
I mean, I was surprised and excited for this.
So the last time we saw the U.S. title was at the first Nitro that we covered, when Sting had it. But since then, he had lost it to Kensuke at a show in Japan a couple of weeks prior. And the last time that we saw either one of these gentlemen was at Collision in Korea, episode 161. And also, I don't know if anyone else noticed, but the Crippler had a few fingers raised as he walked out to the ring.
Yep, and I was like, I should have known he was the fourth man. But the fourth man is Chris Benoit. So that makes Chris Benoit, Brian Pillman, Arn Anderson, Ric Flair. Come on. 2 old brutes and 2 young, studs.
Yep.
I would almost say, other than the original.
Yeah.
With Tully and Ole. Mm-hmm. This is the best 4 Horsemen rendition there.
Yeah, this seems like if Hogan wasn't in the way, this should be the fucking show.
Yes. I mean, that's easy to say on any show about almost anybody.
Yeah. Burn the hot dog.
Yeah.
So Tony starts talking about the Brain selling half of WCW Pro to Sonny Onoo. So WCW Pro was one of the syndicated shows.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you guys remember, but the last WCW pay-per-view that we watched, Tony asked Brain about eating sushi. Do you remember that comment?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Well, it was foreshadowing for this, because basically Heenan had sold half of WCW Pro, and so New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers started showing up on WCW Pro.
It's a good angle, a good reason to get them on there. It's fun.
I knew you had that power, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
As we'll find out later,
yeah,
neither did anyone else.
Yeah. This is where Bobby gets distracted by a Hooter girl, because the Hooters girls are still around.
That's when they were at their height.
Yeah, and he makes
at their peak.
And he makes a Hootie and the Blowfish joke, which is where I got my "I Only Want to Be With You."
So our competitors begin by trading hard chops and kicks before going into a test of strength.
Oh.
TOS. I mean, I want to see a TOS between these guys. Bring it on.
It's back and forth when Sasaki breaks free to hit multiple body slams and a press slam before going for a Boston Crab, only for the Crippler to power out, sending Kensuke out to the floor. Benoit flies to the ropes with a tope suicida, where he almost hits head first into the guardrail.
Yeah, again, that was another sick landing.
The Crippler rolls Sasaki back in the ring to deliver a snap suplex for a 2 count and locking on a triangle choke as Sonny joins our commentators. And Onoo brings up that they have come to an agreement since the sale of WCW Pro did not go through. Because, as we mentioned, Heenan doesn't really have the power to sell half of it.
No, it's an underhanded deal.
They start talking about Starrcade as Kensuke catches Benoit with a power slam. The Crippler comes back with rolling German suplexes, but Sasaki breaks free with a back elbow and nails Benoit with a clothesline. Kensuke then goes for a tombstone piledriver, only for Benoit to reverse and hit a flying headbutt off the top rope for the pin, and no! Sasaki kicks out.
I love that Bobby Heenan says, Canada says that Chris Benoit is Canada's best wrestler.
The Crippler's laying it in with chops before setting Kensuke on the top to hit a super Frankensteiner for a near fall. Benoit's delivering kicks only for Sasaki to catch one and pick up the Crippler for a powerbomb. Kensuke then applies the stranglehold gamma, which Benoit rolls immediately to the ropes to escape. The 2 men are trading clotheslines with only the Crippler going down to the mat.
Yes, he just absorbs the clothesline. He's the power warrior.
Allowing Sasaki to pick him up for a Northern Lights bomb for the pin and the win.
And still. Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was. I said it was a brain buster-esque maneuver. I was like, oh, what is that called? It looks great.
So Mean Gene is on the stage now with the Giant, the Taskmaster, and Jimmy Hart. And Oakland tells the Giant that his father would be ashamed of him with him growling in response.
I cannot wait until that storyline is dead.
I feel like it just began.
Sullivan says the Dungeon of Doom will be taking no prisoners during the Battle Royal, calling the Giant the uncrowned champion, before calling all the people who have picked him to win tonight very smart.
I mean, he did live after being dropped off of a building.
It's very true.
He's basically the Undertaker.
Hart then calls Hogan, Sting, and Savage the Three Stooges, saying they are unafraid of the red and yellow, as only the Taskmaster can wear those colors.
Right.
Mean Gene then tries to stir up dissension in the Dungeon of Doom, but the Taskmaster is having none of it. The giant then threatens to throw Hulk over the ropes before giving us all a poem.
Oh my god.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm going to kick your butt to Kalamazoo.
Yeah, it's like...
Who wrote that for you, Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin Sullivan totally wrote that one. We go back to Shivani, who plugs Starcade with a graphic that has the wrong day on it. So Tony has to correct it before sending it to a video package.
Awesome.
Where we see the various confrontations and matches between Luger and Savage, including the Lex turn on Hogan and Macho. We would see Luger and Shark attack Savage on Nitro during a match with Ming, injuring the arm of Macho Man. Back to Mean Gene now with Savage on the stage, calling him nervous and jittery. And Macho just says that's his personality and charm.
Yeah, I love it. He's like, it is what it is. I'm always jittery. And it's like, yeah, we know you're always jittery, Macho. But I'm glad that you know that that's true.
Savage continues by saying that Lex will find out that he's the total package. And Okerlund brings up the injury, and Macho just responds that he is 1,000,000%. That's better than 100%.
Oh, thanks.
As his music hits.
I love... And Macho's like, I'm the total package. And it's like, you are the total package, Macho Man.
Yep.
We all know it.
And I kind of dig these last couple times between Macho and Gene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Macho's just having fun at this
Oh,
point.
yeah.
Mustache
Like,
is crooked.
they've known each other for a long time, so it's like, oh, this isn't only easy, but it's fun. It's like, I'm not worried about that. Mean Gene's not trying to, like, worry about time. He knows Macho Man's got this.
Yeah, and Savage is just, hanging with pervy Uncle Gene.
Yeah, so Savage can not say a word. He doesn't have to say a word.
So we go to our fifth match. Macho Man Randy Savage versus the total package Lex Luger. And Macho doesn't go to the ring from the stage. He actually walks back around to backstage to come out through the curtain.
He needs that full entrance, man.
Yes, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
Once he takes his jacket off, we see that his arm is wrapped in heavy bandages. But Hogan told us he wasn't hurt at the beginning of the show, guys. The internet scoops were wrong.
I know. So, follow.
Savage just told us.
I think Meltzer may have had it right in the old Observer.
Savage just told us he's 1,000,000%, and that's better than 100%.
Maybe he's playing possum.
Could be.
So Savage jumps Lex as he enters the ring, choking him on the ropes, ramming him into the corners, until Luger surprises him with a boot and tries for a clothesline, only for Macho to duck and deliver a clothesline of his own. Savage applies a Boston Crab, which Lex breaks by reaching for the ropes, so they take the fight to the floor, where Luger has his head slammed into a guardrail.
Couple of times.
Lex is rolled back into the ring, where Macho hits a body slam and goes up top for the Savage elbow for the pin. And no, Jimmy Hart has the ref distracted.
Damn it, Jimmy.
Macho attempts to throw Luger into Jimmy, but Hart moves in time, so Lex just goes out to the floor.
Attaboy, Jimmy.
Savage follows out to continue the punishment, but Luger reverses an Irish whip to send Macho into the apron of one of the rings. Lex locks on a torture rack on the floor.
Jimmy Hart's just yelling. Whatever Jimmy Hart
Hey,
yells.
dude, you have to get back in the ring to win like that.
Yeah, and it's a long torture rack. He really holds him up there.
So back in the ring, Lex then applies an armbar with Savage passed out. So the ref calls for the bell for the win.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that.
Sting gets in...
Post-match.
Post-match, sorry.
Luger
Sorry.
won't let go of the arm when Sting arrives. And the Stinger just whispers something to him. So Lex releases the hold and leaves the ring. And Tony tells us that the same thing happened recently on Nitro, as Luger had whispered something into the Stinger's ear to get him to drop a hold on Flair.
Conspiracy.
What is going on?
Shivani sends us to a video package where it contains a montage of Flair's bouts with Arn Anderson, his search for help, and the turn at Halloween Havoc.
What a beautiful turn it was.
We see footage of Sting facing the Nature Boy on Nitro, where he wouldn't let go of the Scorpion Deathlock, like we just talked about.
Maybe the best moment in all of Halloween Havoc history at this point.
And the narrator finishes with, "This will be the most intense Sting-Flair matchup ever."
Ever. 89 was pretty good.
So we go to our 6th match. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, versus Sting. And the two men stare each other down, talking trash, but the Stinger gets the first punch in, sending Nate running to a different ring, calling for Sting to join him, which he does, just to continue with the press slam.
I mean, we know that Sting loves to press slam Ric Flair.
Yes.
He does.
I think it's part of his daily workout anymore.
Yeah, we saw it on Nitro. He pressed him like 10 times.
Flair pokes the eyes to back the Stinger off and starts laying it in with right hands and chops. But Sting flies out of the corner with a clothesline and hits a 10 count of punches.
All 10 of them.
Before delivering a hip toss and a drop kick, sending the Nature Boy running again to another ring.
The 3 rings is perfect for Flair.
Yes.
Because, like, he's just moving in and out of them and, like, goading his opponent. It's, like, he uses it the best. Like, Duggan and Bubba did some stuff with it, but, like, Flair, this is just, like, perfect for Flair to be a shithead.
All of a sudden, Colonel Parker and Sister Sherry make their way out, and they take a seat on the stage area to watch the match.
Yeah, I was kind of confused
Why?
about that.
No clue. Never comes back up again.
No, but Bobby Heenan has
At least on this show.
Bobby Heenan has this beautiful line where he says, "It looks like the top of a wedding cake."
Aww.
Which is very cute.
Fresh.
Nate with more chops and punches, but Sting just absorbs them this time and fires back, sending Flair out to the floor to regroup.
I mean, Sting's got a little of Rick and a little of Hogan in him, and he's not as compelling as either, but we still love Sting.
Yeah, he's got that savage side to him starting to grow on him.
Yeah.
Back in the ring, the Nature Boy starts doing hair pulls and more chops, but they're all no-sold. And the Stinger hits another press slam. Nate takes off around ringside, with Sting giving chase, but Flair is able to send the Stinger towards the guardrail. But he's able to stop himself and give chase again, trying for a Stinger splash, only for the Nature Boy to avoid, sending Sting into the guardrail.
I mean, that's Rick's brain for wrestling. It's like, no, stop yourself. It's going to be better when I move and run you into it, so I can be the smart shitbag heel.
Nate grabs a chair, but the ref prevents him from using it. So he goes back to chops, head slams into the guardrail, and eye rakes. They're back in the original ring, and Flair delivers a chop. But Stinger grabs a choke, which drops the Nature Boy to his knees to hit the little scorpions. Nate begins to work the leg before distracting the ref, allowing him to toss Sting over the ropes, following out to continue the attack by ramming him into the apron. They roll into a different ring again, where Flair rips at the face, delivers a back suplex, and locks on the figure 4, where he punches and slaps the Stinger while he's in it, which causes Sting to fire up to reverse the hold. The Nature Boy then goes for a hip toss, only for Sting to reverse into a backslide for a 2 count, which sends Nate shoving the ref, only to be shoved back by Nick Patrick.
Nick Patrick ain't taking no shit.
That's right. You don't fuck around.
Flair returns his focus to the Stinger, but he just absorbs his strikes again, so the Nature Boy takes off running back to the original ring, where he begs off to no avail, as Sting hits another press slam and multiple clotheslines. Nate then rakes the eyes to give him some separation, going up top, but the Stinger meets him there to press slam him off to the mat, before whipping the Nature Boy to the corner for a Flair flip to the apron, where Sting lands a clothesline.
I mean, Sting's been around for a while.
Another 10 count of punches, but Nate interrupts at 5 to hit an atomic drop, which the Stinger no-sells, setting Flair up on the top rope for a superplex. Stinger then applies the Scorpion Deathlock for the submission and the win.
Clean win.
No horseman out to save?
Most intense matchup ever.
Damn right. It took 3 rings to contain him.
And a million plus press slams to put him down.
Not even,
No selling an atomic drop.
Not even Sherry and Colonel Parker could distract them from this intensity.
I don't know why they were there and the Horsemen weren't.
It makes no sense. Tony and the Brain recap our evening with Shivani questioning the conditions of all those who have already wrestled, with Heenan saying none of them will win the match. But your pick was Flair, Bobby.
He changed his mind a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Tony then sends us to a video package where we see Jimmy Hart betraying Hogan and the Giant leaving with the belt. But WCW would strip him of the title, declaring that the winner of World War III would become the new champion. Mean Gene is then on the stage where he welcomes the Hulkster for the second time, because I guess he didn't finish all of what he had to say earlier.
Oh, what a fee-fi faux fum.
I smell the stench of the stinky giant one, brother.
Oh, Kalamazoo.
I know. Like, did Kevin Sullivan write both of their promos?
That was probably a Jimmy Hart one.
Okay, well that does. I can hear Jimmy Hart say that.
I smell the stench of the stinky giant one.
The thing is, Jimmy Hart can sell it.
Hogan says he's focused on the Giant, but he wants his belt back, claiming he never should have lost it, which sadly is technically true.
No.
Sad but true. Cutie McCallum.
Hulk then warns Stinkin' Savage they are marked men if they get in his way. But he then follows it up that he hopes he is there with his friends at the end. Only to then also say he wants to be alone with the Giant. Make up your mind, brother. Shivani and Bobby then show off Big Gold that still has Hogan's name on it. Tony then introduces our other announced teams for the main event, in Eric Bischoff with Dusty Rhodes,
Big Dust,
while Larry Zbyszko is with Chris Cruz, as each one will cover 1 ring each, respectfully. Now, the last time we saw Dusty was at Fall Brawl 94, episode 131. Zbyszko at Clash 27, episode 121.
It's such a shame that Zbyszko just isn't in this match. Not that it would matter.
And Cruz at AAA When Worlds Collide, episode 134.
Watch AAA When Worlds Collide, everybody.
Yes.
You can't say enough good about it.
Yeah, surely they could have included Zbyszko in this match. Pulled out.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Mike Winter.
Close eyes and touch screen. That person.
Yeah.
So we head to our 7th match, the World War III match for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
And you better believe, I noticed there was 40 minutes left in this show when this match was announced.
I mean, it's the biggest battle royal ever.
So Dave Pinzer announces all the participants as they're coming out through the curtains. And we'll start with Arn Anderson, Alex Wright, who we haven't seen since Best of the Super Juniors 2, episode 157. Brian Knobbs, who we haven't seen since Bash at the Beach, episode 159. Barrio Brother Ricky, Squire David Taylor, Scott Armstrong, who we know better as a referee in WWE.
Okay.
Sting, Jumping Joey Maggs,
Pistol Pete Wheatley, who we haven't seen since Starrcade 86, episode 10, and he was a 2021 inductee to the WWE Hall of Fame. Get ready to dance because it's Disco Inferno, followed by Ming, Stevie Ray, Mark Starr, who was a lumberjack at Bash at the Beach in episode 159, Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker, and we haven't seen him since Starrcade 1991, episode 64.
Up next, we've got Lieutenant James Earl, last seen at Wrestle War 91, episode 53. Lex Luger, Eddie Guerrero, Cobra, The Giant, Paul Orndorff,
Mr. Wonderful,
Chris Kanyon, who was also a lumberjack at Bash at the Beach, episode 159. Bobby Walker, the man who was supposed to tag with Ron Simmons at Clash 21, episode 78, but he got hurt, so we had the debut of Too Cold Scorpio.
Earl Robert Eaton, Bash at the Beach, episode 159. Chris Benoit, Randy Savage, Marcus Bagwell, who we haven't seen since Halloween Havoc 94.
Poor Bag.
Episode 132. The Yeti.
Yeti!
Who's now dressed as a ninja.
Mortal Kombat.
Kurosawa. Humorous. Who we haven't seen since Ultra Clash 93, episode 101, when he was Crash the Terminator.
Followed by Zodiac, Vincent Kennedy Wall Street, Diamond Dallas Page, Scott Norton, Flying Brian Pillman, Sergeant Craig Pittman, the one-man gang, who we have not seen since Great American Bash 1991, episode 57, Super Assassin number 2, The Warlord, who we have not seen since Royal Rumble 92, episode 66. It's been a while, buddy. Followed by Mr. J.L., Bunkhouse Buck, and Kensuke Sasaki.
Mike Winner, the Shark. Steve Armstrong, one of the former Young Pistols, who we haven't seen since Starrcade 91, episode 64. Road Warrior Hawk, Dave Sullivan, last seen at Bash at the Beach 95, episode 159. Scotty Riggs, Luger's flag bearer at In Your House 2, episode 160.
Oh, wow.
Johnny B. Bad.
Big Train Bart, better known as Black Bart, who we haven't seen since Super Brawl 1, episode 56.
They're digging deep.
Lord Steven Regal, Dirty Dick Slater, Max Muscle, Super Assassin number 1, a.k.a. the Barbarian, who we haven't seen since Royal Rumble 95, as Sione in episode 141. Barrio Brother Fidel, who we haven't seen since Halloween Havoc 89, as the Cuban Assassin, all the way back in episode 34.
None other than Taskmaster comes out, followed by Jerry Sags, who we have not seen since Bash at the Beach, episode 159. Jim Duggan, Ho. Booker T, Big Bubba Rogers, Ric Flair, and the last to enter, none other than Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
Michael Buffer then takes over to get everybody ready to be underwhelmed.
Are you ready to fumble? That's what I wrote in my notes.
Pyro goes off, and the bell rings, with the camera view far enough away to see all 3 rings, but not actually what's happening.
Ain't that great?
Before it then cuts to 3 side-by-side screens to cover each of the rings.
Shane, you said, but ain't that great? And I thought, well, you know what? Kinda. Kinda better than the 3. Like,
Yeah.
if I don't have to see it, I don't have to, write notes about it, pay attention to be like, well, there's some stuff happening over there.
Yeah.
So I just kind of kept doing a roundabout of the screens, seeing if something happened, and when something happened, I moved to the next screen.
Yeah.
So I may have missed something.
There's no incredible spots here, guys.
No, there's not.
I'm already impressed, and I don't know what Matt has written down, but I know it's impressive to write anything about this, with the exception of maybe the last couple of minutes.
I mean, I'm impressed he got all 60 of the fucking names.
I wrote them down by hand.
I paid as little attention to them as possible because I knew I didn't know half of them.
So someone eliminates the Yeti first.
Ooh.
But not much of that giant being in the ring.
Yeah, they're like 3 giants, and it's like, the Yeti doesn't even seem that big.
Yeah, you ain't dry humping anybody today, buddy.
Yeah, there's got to be a taller guy in that ring. Anyway.
Orndorff and AA are double teaming someone. Benoit's being chopped by someone, and Hogan and Flair are having their issues in each of the respected rings. Savage back body drops Eaton out to the apron, but he holds on, while the Yeti is still helping DDP with Mr. JL. The Giant has one of the patrolmen in a lifted chokehold, while the Yeti starts ramming someone into the ring post multiple times.
I thought the Yeti was out.
Thought so too.
Yeah,
he's just kind of hanging out because
it is a mess. There's plenty of people that go to the floor, but they rolled under.
My guess is he probably wasn't supposed to be eliminated so soon, so he's afraid to go back there and get yelled at. But he's in a different organization.
That's very funny, and I love. That's my headcanon now too. It's like, well, I really want to get my ass chewed. I'll wait till it's all over, and they forget.
Anderson and Sting fight their way out to the floor, where Flair joins the attack, while Pillman is trying to get Macho Man over the top rope to no avail. Bad is punched out of the ring by Regal, but Johnny trips him up, pulling him to the floor to hit the Tutti Frutti punch. The Giant still has one of the patrolmen in a lifted chokehold, while Hulk is carrying the Nature Boy back into the ring. Stevie Ray's working over Orndorff, placing him over the ropes, but Mr. Wonderful holds on, while in the background of that shot, we see Knobs dive off the apron with a double axe handle onto someone.
It's just a guy. I love Bobby Heenan's it's like a prison riot in Attica. I was like, what a funny reference for 1995. It's like, yo, even Dog Day Afternoon came out like in the 70s or early 80s.
Someone in green trunks is tossed out by Regal, while Hawk and Hulk are teaming up on Flair. Bischoff says that he saw Luger hit the floor, but he made his way back into the ring without the ref seeing him.
Oh, so that's how we're going to do it?
So we should also mention, there's a ref in inside of each ring.
Yeah.
So
there should be more refs on
who knows if someone goes over the ring ropes or goes under the ring, because there's people just
they should have
place.
like one ref on each edge of the ring if they were truly trying to do this right.
Correct.
But I would argue that there's no way to do this right. I have a theory, but I'll save it for the end.
Road Warrior continues to work over the Nature Boy when two of the screens go to opposite views of Big Bubba and the Taskmaster teaming up on Hogan. Everyone's just brawling away as Tony says he thinks only 2 people have been eliminated so far. I'm glad you were able to keep track of
And
that.
there is a rule that I don't believe... We'll get to it eventually. I'm sure you have a note about it. But there's something about this match I didn't quite understand that gets brought up later.
Why don't you go ahead and bring it up, because I have no clue what you're referring to.
It's like once it's down to 10 guys in a ring, they move to another ring.
Yes. So there's 20 men in each ring.
Yeah.
Once 10 are eliminated in each of those rings, they were to all combine. But as we'll see, one ring gets down to 10 pretty quick.
Yeah.
And they move into the original ring where they still hadn't eliminated 10 people.
Yeah, so there's 25
people. And then the
people.
other ring still had 16 people in it whenever those 2 rings combine. So
it's a mess.
Yes.
But it's one of those things where they don't really tell you until a match starts, or when they do, it's like, wait, what? Which ring do they move to?
Knobs knocks Mark Starr out to the floor to be eliminated as Bischoff talks about Sting saving Lex earlier in the match.
That's why
So we still don't know where his loyalties lie. Lieutenant Earl's on the floor and he's trying to pull out Cobra, but that pulls Sergeant Parker over as well to be eliminated. So the 2 patrolmen start arguing at ringside.
Uh-oh. I mean,
Parker... I'm sure we'll see that storyline completely play out.
Yeah, Parker's got to go, use his kickstand.
Benoit and Pillman are working together in their ring, concentrating on Mr. JL, while Luger and Orndorff fight at ringside, with Lex getting his head smashed against the apron. Booker T's backdrop over the ropes by Shark, but only to the apron, so he rolls back in. Ming is chopping away on the Giant, only for the big man to return the favor, as the Hulkster backdrops Big Bubba over the ropes, but only to the apron. Sting and Knobs team up for a pit stop on Disco Inferno, which he always deserved.
Yep.
Guerrero with mounted punches on Mr. Wonderful. Double A slams someone's leg against the ring post, while Luger is just standing around on the outside with the ref asking him, or you're supposed to be in the ring. And he's like, where does it say that we have to do that?
It's true.
Chris Canyon's on the apron and is punched off to the floor to be eliminated, while Hogan hits a double noggin knocker to the Taskmaster and Barrio Brother Fidel. Regal and someone backdrop Big Train Bart over the ropes to be eliminated, while Hulk backdrops someone over as well, but just to the apron.
Just a bunch of flying question marks over the top rope.
On the floor, Arn is trying for a pile driver, but Luger reverses into a back body drop when Hogan clotheslines one of the Super Assassins over and to the floor to be eliminated.
Was it Warlord or Barbarian?
I know. And why are they?
We'll never care.
Why are they masked? Why can't they just be Super Assassins but show your faces?
Why can't they just be Warlord and the Barbarian?
Well, yeah.
Because they were in WCW as those characters as well.
Oh, that's right, they were.
I mean the mask, because if you're an assassin, that's an illegal thing.
Barrio Brother Fidel is eliminated, while Shark, the Taskmaster, and Dirty Dick all are teaming up to get Hogan over the ropes, to no avail. The Crippler and Flying Brian have Savage hanging on for dear life when someone makes a save. Tony then says that Mike Winter and Steve Armstrong are eliminated as well, when Sergeant Pittman tosses Bobby Walker over the ropes to the floor to be eliminated.
Bobby Walker lasted that long, eh?
Yeah, Bobby Walker didn't get question mark. Good for him.
Barrio Brother Ricky climbs up to the top rope, when Eddie delivers a drop kick to send him flying to the floor to be eliminated. Followed by Knobs eliminating Stevie Ray with a clothesline. When the Giant then clotheslines Bryan as well to send him over to the floor to be eliminated. Sting then goes after the Giant, only to be placed in a bear hug.
Ooh, can I get a trap hold?
Can I get a trap hold?
We see Alex Wright and Pistol Pez leaving ringside, so they must be eliminated. Followed by Shivani telling us that Scotty Riggs has been dumped out as well to be eliminated.
Go get your flag.
The ref is telling the competitors in ring number 2 that they're down to 10. So they'll move on, which causes them, they all pause for a second, like, do we keep fighting? Or,
yeah, do we stop? Should I maybe just put a guy in an armbar?
But they go back to brawling before starting to make their way to the first ring.
They brawl to this first ring, because I guess that's where they should go now.
Someone tries to suplex Macho out of the ring, but Savage blocks and drops him throat first across the ropes to send him sprawling out to the floor to be eliminated. Tony says that Slater was eliminated, as everyone continues to brawl, including Luger and Anderson on the floor. Benoit and Pillman are now working on DDP, when Wall Street charges at a held Savage, only for everyone to move, sending Vincent Kennedy flying out to the floor to be eliminated.
As I was watching this about halfway through, I don't know if that's how far we are, I was like, the only way that this is any good is if for somehow fucking Johnny B. Bad wins. How awesome would it have been if Johnny B. Bad just won this whole thing? That would have been so great. I think that would have been the best possible outcome that's surprising. It's
10 plus all the way.
10 plus. And then him and Diamond Doll just rule with an iron fist.
She comes out there with the Bad Blaster, and
I got an even better one that I'll save for later.
Okay, I'm just man, that was I was that's the only thought that I had after having my mind wiped by question marks.
Sting and Flair are now brawling out on the floor when Norton is eliminated by a humorous clothesline. So they believe we are down to 30 men in one ring.
I mean, who's to tell?
All of a sudden we see paramedics come out with a stretcher, and while everyone starts to finally get the message that they all should move to ring number 1.
And it's we're doing a stretcher job here, or is someone actually hurt?
Someone is actually hurt.
Okay.
Macho runs Paige into a ring post as we go to one screen of the one ring.
Ooh. One screen, one ring.
Savage then attacks Luger from the apron while One Man Gang goes after the Hulkster while on the floor.
One Man Gang. Can you believe One Man Gang?
Still around.
Biggest surprise of the night.
Everybody's brawling, and it's all a clusterfuck, as even the announcers don't know how many people ended up on the floor. So even though they are pretty sure that Joey Maggs is eliminated.
I mean, did he have a fighting chance?
Nope.
Duggan and Booker backdrop Big Bubba over the ropes, only for him to land on the apron.
Second time to land on the apron?
But Hacksaw then lays it in with a taped fist shot to eliminate Rogers.
Oh, look at that.
Throwback.
The chickens are coming home to roost.
Callback.
So the paramedics start coming back through with the stretcher, and it's Scott Armstrong on it.
Oh, it's a bummer that anybody got hurt, but we don't want to see
He has a neck brace on. He never gets much farther. I mean, he goes on to be a referee, so his wrestling career is never much.
Which of the Armstrongs? Was he in the great?
No, he was probably the least successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But maybe the longest career as far as, being able to do ref work and stay safe?
Correct. So Scott Armstrong's being stretched off as Big Bubba jumps back up to drag Duggan over the ropes to the floor to be eliminated.
Ha ha ha.
Bubba.
Road Warrior Hawk then tosses Disco to be eliminated, and Road Warrior Hawk is now one of my favorite wrestlers. When the Squire is then tossed by Pittman as well to be eliminated. Eddie hits a top rope double axe handle to Double A, while Hogan and Sags team up to toss Booker T. But then Hulk tosses Jerry as well for them both to be eliminated.
It makes me happy to see Eddie in there still.
Yeah, it does.
Savage rolls out of the ring to go after Lex, who has continued to just be at ringside, while the Hulkster tosses the Taskmaster to be eliminated. Regal's on the apron, and he is shoved into the ring post by Anderson, causing him to fall out to the floor to be eliminated. The Giant then gives the Crippler and Flying Brian a double noggin knocker, while Guerrero hits a drop kick onto Ming. DDP's dropped over the ropes to the floor by Bad, but Page holds onto Johnny, causing him to fall out as well, for them both to be eliminated. And Michael's dream is dead.
I know, my dream is dead, and at least there's like some of the stuff that we've seen is actually being addressed. So like that's at least shows some vision. But this is like trying to watch the Spice Channel. Don't waste your time. Just go to sleep.
Pittman then goes charging at somebody, only to fly over the ropes and hit the floor hard to be eliminated. Benoit is then kicked over the ropes by Kurosawa to be eliminated, but Ming then kicks our Japanese competitor out as well to be eliminated. One-man gang and Ming begin to brawl when the gang clotheslines Ming over to the floor to be eliminated, as Orndorff tries to lift Hogan over the ropes.
Wouldn't that have been good?
Orndorff? Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Sting with mounted punches on Flair, only to be countered into an atomic drop, which works this time, guys. He doesn't no sell it.
I mean, you could say he has balls of steel, but you can only take, maybe 2 knees.
This one was a little more atomic than the last one, I guess.
It is World War III.
The Zodiac then goes to toss Pillman, only for Flying Brian to reverse, sending the man once known as the Butcher towards Morris, who backdrops him out of the ring to be eliminated.
Yeah, get out of here, Zodiac.
Kensuke then shows up to clothesline Humorous out of the ring to be eliminated, followed by Hawk flipping Pillman out of the ring as well to be eliminated. And then the Road Warrior has to sit there and wait for the Hulk to hit his spot. He's like literally standing there like, Hulk! Hulk!
Okay, Terry.
And the Road Warrior's trying to prevent his former Hellraiser teammate from being eliminated, as Brian is yanking on him from the floor. When Hogan comes along to toss Hawk, which also causes Kensuke to fall to the floor as well, for them both to be eliminated.
Wow.
So we're down to 10 men.
Sure, who we got?
I don't know.
Cool.
As we get a Stinger splash onto the Giant. And Eddie.
There's 3.
Yeah, I do remember being excited that Eddie was there, even though it's not a big guy.
Sting goes for a second one, but the big man moves, causing Guerrero to take the full blow, getting him hung up on the ropes. So he lands on the apron. Mr. Wonderful goes for a pile driver on the Hulkster, only for it to be reversed, sending Orndorff over the ropes to be eliminated.
Even if Orndorff's going to get knocked out of the ring, which we know is going to happen, how sweet would it have been for Hogan to take a pile driver?
He's not doing it.
We know, but just, a boy can dream.
Like the Giant will take a pile driver before Hogan does.
No shit. He at least he truly doesn't know what he's doing, so it's fine.
I mean, he fell off a building for the company.
And they didn't even. And he did the stunt, and they didn't even record it. I would have been so pissed that they didn't record it.
Luger with a body slam on Macho when the remaining horsemen team up on Eddie, but Guerrero fights back to hit a missile drop kick on Arn, only for Flair to then lock him into a figure 4 momentarily.
It's like, yeah, this isn't really the best way to do this. Over the top rope. What is he going to do? Monkey flip, release a figure 4? Not possible.
Sting attempts to put Double A in a Scorpion Deathlock, but the Nature Boy chops him away to save his fellow horseman. The Giant then body slams Savage, while Anderson's back to his feet to hit a Spine Buster on Eddie, even though Tony calls it a power bomb.
Great job, Shane.
Really, Tony?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, we say we love Tony because Tony has history, but Tony is not a good announcer.
No.
He's not as good of a mic man as Mean Gene, and Tony is lucky to have just been around and been okay enough to keep a job and continue to be paid in wrestling. No shade, but maybe some shade.
Maybe he's got soft hands or something.
Definitely has soft hands.
Hogan rakes the eyes of Luger and the Giant before nailing a double noggin knocker, but it doesn't even faze the big man. Hulk then joins forces with Sting to pummel Flair, while Harn has tossed Guerrero out to be eliminated.
Careful, Sting. He was
Good on Guerrero. I
earlier.
mean, that's nice that they at least like Guerrero. Guerrero's just like, I'll take the beating later. Who cares?
Sting needs to watch out because Hogan was in there talking shit earlier. Though he's gonna
He's going to throw
take
him
it
out.
down.
But he wants to be left with his boys.
But he wants the giant one-on-one.
But he wants to be left with the giant.
But he also wants to be... He doesn't know what he wants.
He doesn't know what he wants.
He knows what he won't do, doesn't know what he wants.
Stinger splash on the Nature Boy, then one on the Enforcer, all while Macho and Hogan are teaming up on One Man Gang. The Giant then delivers an atomic drop to Sting before hitting a choke slam on Savage. The Horsemen then look for a spike piledriver on the Stinger, but he counters, catapulting Anderson onto Flair, which sends him out to the floor, followed by Hogan clotheslining WW3 out as well, for them to be eliminated.
Oh my god. No horsemen. We're horseless.
The Nature Boy goes insane on the outside, as Sting and Lex continue to work the Giant, while Hulk and Macho work on One Man Gang.
One Man Gang still in here?
Stinger and Luger can't quite get the Giant over the ropes, until Hogan comes over and just flips all three of them out to be eliminated.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Savage finally gets the gang out as the Giant pulls the Hulkster under the ropes to beat on him. But the refs don't see it, so they call for the bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
And Macho Man Randy Savage is your winner. And new! Post-match, Hogan continues to go after the Giant, body slamming him on the floor, but then realizes the bell is ringing. And he rolls back in and protests the outcome, telling the ref that he was pulled under the ropes. Mean Gene then enters the ring, giving Hogan more mic time to whine.
Of course.
When Macho chimes in that Hulk is his friend, and he swears he didn't see nothing. Double negative. And what it is what it is.
And I'm a little jittery, brother.
Savage then claims it isn't cool if there's a dark cloud over his win, and he wants to see the film. Okerlund says they will look at it tomorrow night on Nitro, before Hogan sarcastically congratulates Macho,
Fuck you, Terry.
saying he wants a shot at the title, followed by them shaking hands. Tony and the Brain
They both
recap.
do an ooh yeah, too, which I was like, okay, Terry, get out of here.
Tony and the Brain then recap what happened, with Heenan also yelling at Hulk for complaining. And Shivani says his goodbyes while Bobby goes for the champagne as the credits roll.
Tony says it was wild and crazy. That's something.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of World War III, 1995?
A pretty okay show until it turns into a 60-man battle royal. Bullshit.
Yes.
I think that I'd like to ask Matt who he thought should win, but I'd like to posit a concept where we've seen things like The Big Event, which is a show we like.
Well, it's not who I thought should win.
Okay.
I mean, actually, it didn't matter to me who won other than Hogan.
Yeah,
because
absolutely. Which it was nice. It was a nice surprise.
It was good to get the belt off of Hogan. And
Absolutely.
This is the way to get the belt off of Hogan without Hogan losing, because we know Hogan won't take a pin. But my overall thoughts, which will kind of give you an idea of what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The show, it's a bit of a mixed bag, as there were some quality matches on this show. But the main event sours everything.
We talked about it in the last episode, where it's like, well, a main event can turn a sideways some, a little up, or a little down.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely no one comes out looking good in this main event.
Macho doesn't win the belt.
Not even Macho winning the belt, because
it's
obvious that Hogan was under the ropes. We saw it. The camera was right on it. We saw it.
It's no question.
No question. Except for Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero is the only person
comes out looking good.
That comes out looking good, because he looked fucking awesome
He's
against the Horsemen.
Yeah. I mean, the Horsemen were all out before he was.
Spoiler. He looks awesome against the Horsemen going down.
Oh, I mean, we know Eddie Guerrero is awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that, like, out of everybody in that match,
he's the only person that gets any shine.
He's the guy that got a little bit of a shine.
Mm-hmm. And that would have been a boom, wow, welcome to WCW.
Yeah.
They would have just said, here.
This show is kind of the opposite of this Survivor Series 95, where, like, everybody gets a little bit of shine that they want to get a shine. Everybody gets a little bit of like some, like 1, 2, 3 gets his heel persona over a little bit more. Ahmed Johnson gets a pin. Blah blah blah. Everybody kind of gets their shit in, and nobody really comes out looking like terrible on that show. Where this battle royal, like people you love look like doofuses, whereas Eddie Guerrero doesn't. It's like all 4 horsemen don't come out with any like. They just
I would have liked Benoit and Pillman to get a little bit more shine.
Yeah,
I mean, they did well when they were in their ring, but once they got into the final ring, they kind of disappeared.
Was that your take?
I mean, basically.
Okay.
I mean, just that Eddie's the only one that shined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In this entire 60-man match.
Yeah, I think that, I don't think there's any great way to do this, but I think that we've seen one-night tournaments and we like them. Why couldn't we have had
a few small
3 single 10-man battle royals?
I don't even need
and then 3 men
in the last 30 men,
and then 3 men in a ring.
Just the last 30 men is all of your top stars in your company. It eliminates all of the fodder.
Absolutely, but I'm saying if you're going to use the fodder and you want to say there's going to be 60 men in a battle royal tonight, if you do 3 single ones and then the 3 guys that win each one, and you have like a 3-way match, maybe in a cage, maybe no DQ, I don't know. But it seems like, that could potentially be fun because each single battle royal has potential for spots and for people to get shine, even if they don't win.
They have the potential for it, but they have just as much or more potential
to be
completely missed because there's just too much shit going on.
No, I agree that it's not neither one is a good idea. I just think that could have potentially been more fun, but that's only potential. It could have been even worse.
But that also would have meant that we would have had 3 battle royals.
Exactly, and we don't have a deep enough roster for it anyway. So it's just one of those things like you damned if you do, damned if you don't. Maybe you should. Maybe you don't.
Would have taken away from the rest of the show.
Yeah, so it could have been a worse show, but with a deeper roster, that might be the more interesting thing to do. I still would suggest not doing either of them. But it was just an idea that I had, where it's like, well, you can have a big 3-way match with some fuckery, and even the 3-way match could be an over-the-top rope thing, just for the sake of gimmickry. But my big takeaway is okay, is this Mega Powers 2? This is 30 Days trying to do Mega Powers 2.
Nah, it's really just to get the belt off of Hogan.
Yeah. And it should be if Macho,
because spoiler alert, Hogan and Giant continue to feud for the next few months.
I assumed that, but I was hoping that maybe they were going to try to do a crummy version of Mega Powers 2, which Mega Powers is one of the best WWF plot lines of all time. Yeah. Done so well and plotted out so well with a Hogan that's not dead in the water yet and a Macho Man at peak fucking awesome. But wouldn't it have been so much better if Macho Man was a little bit more adamant about the fact that he won and it wasn't so subservient to Hogan? We're just like, fuck it, man, I fucking won. Sorry, but if you want this belt, you're going to have to pin me in the ring.
But if you do that, you turn heel because
I know
the crowd boos.
Yeah.
The crowd still wants Hogan to win this thing.
That's true. The crowd does boo and cheer a lot of stuff throughout this whole show. It's like, what do they even like? We don't know, it seems like. But I guess they like Hogan.
For some reason.
And it's a pretty packed venue. Weird show.
Yeah. Loaded in the front. And then, I
will say the
wheels fall off and...
The first third of the show
spins out of control and burns up upon impact or whatever.
A pretty good WCW show. Johnny B. Bad holding it down at the beginning again. Mm-hmm. Johnny B. Bad. That's why I was like, wouldn't it be so awesome? I knew it would never happen, but I was like, man, I'm high on Johnny B. Bad.
I would have liked Bad. I'm glad that Bad and DDP eliminated each other because that furthers their story. So that was one of the few good things about that match. But I also would have liked both of them to get a little bit more shine in the match because they are your television title contenders, so you should probably make them look better.
Yeah, and they've been putting on good matches on your pay-per-views.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
Ladies tag.
Ladies tag was cool.
I mean, I always enjoy Sting and Flair.
I really appreciated Flair's use of the 3 rings. I think that was something that Flair is one of the few guys that can do correctly, even though it wasn't part of the gimmick for his match. It was a grudge match in a way. It wasn't titled that, but it is a grudge match. So there's a little bit of rope, and Flair is just reinstated the Horseman. So it was fun to see him play in. It's like taking him to the playground and be like, oh, have a match here. Can you pull off a match in this weird setting that you've never seen before? And I think that he had a lot of fun with it, considering that it shouldn't have even existed.
Mean Gene and Savage on the podium.
Yeah.
I think the first match was great
Sasaki
too.
match was good.
Yeah, that one is so like it's so very somewhere between like a great television match and we said it's an American G1 match.
Yeah.
It's like American style.
That's what they're
G1
going
match.
for, and it doesn't quite hit what you're wanting it to hit because it's too short.
Yeah, it doesn't reach any like big highs, but it does like prove the thing that everybody already knows, that these guys are both like great wrestlers.
I think Chris Cruz was a delight.
Do you think
on
so?
commentary?
It was hard for me to keep up with it. I don't remember Dusty, and I was excited for
He
Dusty.
just seemed super excited. I mean, he probably was super excited because he actually was on air for the first time in forever. But like, I just thought. But kind of going back to what I was talking about a little bit. So like some of the better spots in the Battle Royal, like Road Warrior Hawk and Kazuke have their little Hellraisers moment, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
But then of course it gets ruined because Hulk like totally forgets his spot, and they have to like sit there and like just hold on to each other, like looking back, like Hulk, hey Hulk, show up, where you at? So it's a good moment, but it's also like this like it also gets watered down. And
it's like, oh no, it's like that thing where how I always talk about how these women wrestlers are so good at like keeping things kinetic and not standing around and waiting for the spot. And this is obviously confusion because there's so many people in the ring. But we see a lot of guys stand around for spots these days, and it always kind of takes me out of it a little bit. So it's like if these women were doing this in the 90s, why can't people do it today? But at the same time,
remember that time where we went to a show and we had to watch these guys that just like had to hang out in spots for 30 minutes laying on the ground from a clothesline?
It's hard. You have the benefit of you also have the benefit of cameras too that can help you forget, like on television or on pay-per-views. So it's rough whenever it's a big spot and you can't, and you're not. I wouldn't say not working hard enough because I'm not a fucking wrestler. I don't want to be that guy. But when you're not, just be like, don't do it for the sake of being cool. Do it for the sake of it being a contest. And I think that they do it. Those women wrestlers do it so well in some matches that we've seen. And I will give Hogan a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, considering the amount of people just in a ring that shouldn't.
No excuses.
I'll give him an excuse because he's not Ric Flair.
I don't care. He's supposed to,
or Bret Hart.
According to him and the wrestling world, he was supposed to be better than everybody. You don't mess up like that, especially when it results in Hawk, of all people, calling you for your spot.
Yeah. He also joins, no shit. He slams Giant on the floor like he did Andre, but it's like, it's not that big of a deal or a callback that I even thought about at the time until we were recapping it.
It's an afterthought of the match because of what's happening in the, like, they've already rung the bell.
Yeah, it's like you've already...
Macho has the belt, and so, like, this entire thing, if you're in the crowd, like, you probably missed that completely.
It was probably in between the two rings that have the little, like, sandwich in between them. I don't know.
How about most disappointing? Starting with 60 men. I mean,
just the premise of the last match in general is just like.
I mean, I think a lot of these matches, probably could have also gone a couple extra minutes. Most of the matches probably could have gone a couple extra minutes, but they had to make sure that they had enough time for the battle.
I mean, there was 40 minutes left when they were about to go to, when they announced the 60-man Battle Royal, it took 10 minutes to name everybody. The last match was 30 minutes.
And it could have been much shorter.
Mm-hmm. Could have been a lot of things.
Because
it wasn't.
Because obviously people just kept rolling to the floor. Like, no one really gets eliminated other than like the first two people for like the first 5 minutes. Like, just start tossing the jobbers out, guys.
Yeah.
No one is there to watch these guys
at
all.
Which will lead to my most surprising moment.
Anything else disappointing or?
I mean, I get the purpose of it, considering how the show itself ended, but I just hate the Luger Savage match, just because of the fact that you've got Savage in there who gets beat by one Luger, and then he goes on in a 60-man match. And I
literally just thought of that. I was like, wait, Savage lost to Luger.
Yeah, it's the most forgettable thing on the show is the Luger.
I get why
Macho
they're doing
match.
it, because it sets up another challenger for him.
Does
but
it?
Because he has a victory over the champion the night that he won.
Spoiler alert.
It doesn't matter.
That's not who he faces
at
Starrcade.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. But it's weird because that's the most forgettable match on the show, and it's the second. It's like the match.
It should be the
third
biggest
to last match. Yeah.
It's
going into it, and you should
sell
it.
Savage loses 2 matches before he wins the belt.
Was there a big Lex Macho Man moment in the Battle Royal?
I mean, they kept going at it after each other on the floor.
Yeah, but like there wasn't one where one eliminated the other.
Savage passed out from an armbar in his match with Luger, but then he goes on and
then
takes
literally
out 60 men.
20 minutes later, he's walking into the ring and just
I could believe it if Jittery Savage goes in there, sells his arm, and then lifts Luger over the top with like selling a single arm, and then wins with selling his arm the whole match.
It totally would have made more sense for Savage to eliminate Luger
on camera.
Like,
that would have been really great.
I'm kind of wondering if One Man Gang was supposed to be tossed at some earlier point.
That was my most surprising moment. One Man Gang is the last person to be eliminated, even though Hogan wasn't technically eliminated.
Why is he still here?
Why? Yeah. Why? Like
he shouldn't have even been in the top 10.
Maybe Yeti was supposed to throw him out at the very beginning.
I mean,
instead he lost
anybody else would have been better as long as they have a name that's memorable. If it was like Arn or any of the Horsemen, that would have been still a better way to get the Horsemen out of the ring, even though they all leave the ring unceremoniously. Leaving the ring as the last man is still better than us not remembering who put you over.
How about best performer of the night? I mean,
Johnny.
It's Eddie for me.
Eddie, yeah.
Yeah, Eddie is hard to watch. Keep track of him throughout all of that.
I mean, you really don't see him until they get down to the 10, but that's when he shines.
Yeah, I might go
Bull and Akira.
Akira's split leg.
I mean, Bull and Akira.
Akira's split leg drop kick. I love the first match, Bad and Paige, but I think that
Kimberly's great with her.
She is. She really deserves some flowers.
With her character work.
Yeah, she deserves some flowers. Considering
heart to heart with her at the very end.
I mean, Johnny's a good man.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a good man.
No, his last name's Bad, but he is neutral good.
Trying to change his evil ways.
I mean, you said your most surprising is One Man Gang being the last eliminated. So anybody else have?
I mean, outside of the women's tag team match,
the women's tag team was. I was surprised that it was on the show, and then I was even more surprised how good it was.
I mean, it's the best match on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's short-listy.
I'm also surprised that they still haven't figured out what a Yeti is.
Yeah, he's a Mortal Kombat character.
Well, I noticed there wasn't and this was the last time you will see him, blah, 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 so I'm curious.
I think it is. I technically think it is the last time we will see him. He does show up a couple more times in this ninja costume, but he's the super ninja machine or something like that.
Oh, good lord!
He goes.
But we don't. I don't think we ever see him.
He becomes a noob cyber.
I could have done that for 60 people in this show, and I just decided not to. We already said that the last time we saw them. Come on.
Yep.
We took the time.
We said all their names for Christ's sake.
And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
Big Van Vader had won the WCW World Heavyweight Championship 3 weeks earlier at the Great American Bash, and the time had come for a rematch with Sting on August 2nd, 1992. But the Stinger would be injured by a debuting Jake Roberts, causing WCW to find a replacement. They would hold a raffle, with Ron Simmons becoming the new challenger.
Damn.
Simmons, born 1958, would become a two-time All-American in football and would have his number retired at Florida State University. He would have a brief career in the NFL and USFL before making his way to Jim Crockett Promotions in 1986. He would spend his first couple of years working his way up the ladder when he would team with Teddy Long and Butch Reed to form Doom. They would win the NWA World Tag Team Championship in 1990, and then the WCW World Tag Team Championships in 1991. But Reed would turn on Doom, leaving Simmons to begin a singles run. Ron Simmons would unsuccessfully challenge Lex Luger for the World Heavyweight Championship before feuding with Cactus Jack, when the raffle would occur. Simmons would become the first recognized African American to be a world champion, and for his accomplishments, he has been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Ron Simmons would continue his feud with Cactus Jack, the Barbarian, and Dr. Death Steve Williams, before the former champion would finally come calling for a rematch.
Bum, bum, bum. It's funny, too, because it's like, oh, I guess world might make sense. But Ron Simmons, Big Cat Ernie Ladd was a champion, but that might have been, I don't know if it was technically a world champion.
It was not.
It was just a...
Mid-South was not.
Mid-South, yeah.
Mid-South was not considered a world championship.
Yeah, okay, so that's the caveat. It's like he was a big champion, but this is territory days where it's not necessarily...
Basically,
world.
in territory days, all there was the WWF and the
NWA. Yeah,
were world championships.
So you'd be it's like you get your Florida heavyweight champion or your Mid-South heavyweight champion. So it's still a big deal, but it's not. Doesn't have the term world attached to it.
Correct. Next week, December to Dismember, 1995.
Where are we gonna be? We're going to be in Philly?
Oh, you know.
Dang.
You know.
Back again. So music from this week's show is the World War III theme. And Macho Man Randy Savage won our main event. So we're going to play his theme, Pomp and Circumstance, the electric guitar remix.
I know.
By Jimmy Hart.
Go Max Payne.
I don't, with the electric guitar remix, I don't like.
No. And it made me really wish that...
Hogan had won? What,
no.
Crazy?
It made me wish that because WWE owns this now, that they would just put Savage's regular music in there in place of it. Since they take out music for the other shows.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. Pomp and Circumstance is already a song, though. It's kind of like...
Yeah, but they can use a better version of it because they have a better version of it to use.
But you need a snapshot of the time. It's like when we get to watch an ECW show and we get to hear the songs. It's like, oh, yeah, cool.
So if you like this episode or any of our other ones, go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says. 5 stars or no stars. Don't watch World War III. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns...
recipes. We're going to Philly, so I actually have Philly taken care of for this next one, but I'm going to need some more Philly ideas because this is my last Philly snack. Let's go back to the old think box again.
Yeah.
If you have any of those, you can always email us at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
I take it back. Watch the
Leaders. Oh, yeah.